Hello, witchy people. Part two of my little talk about oils, base and carrier oils. And in the first one, I told you about the oils that I like to use and roughly what I use them for. So now I'm going to talk specifics about what I use them for. Olive oil for the hair is one. You don't need to add any other essential oils into it. You can just use olive oil on your hair. Wrap it up in a towel to keep it warm for a couple of hours overnight if you can. Rinse it out with a really good shampoo the next day. I wanted to talk briefly, very briefly, about shampoos. Now, a lot of shampoos that you can buy that claim to do all these wonderful things to your hair and make your hair shiny and all the rest of it contain chemicals and elements that stick to your hair shaft, and you cannot wash them out. You have to grow them out because they can take 20 years to wash out. Of course, by that time your hair's grown. So if you can, buy a shampoo that is a deep cleansing shampoo. I tend to buy whatever one I can find cheapest. My favourite for several years has been Tresemme Deep Cleanse shampoo because I can get it cheap. So olive oil for the hair, absolutely brilliant. The other thing you can do is mix olive oil with egg whites and put that in your hair. Olive oil with vinegar, give it a really good shake, use that in your hair. But of course a lot of people don't like the smell of that. And if you put egg whites on your hair, be careful not to go out in the sun because you don't want to bake your head. Okay, next, wheat germ oil. So wheat germ oil is high in vitamin E. So I find it's really, really good for the cuticles. Keeps your hands very soft. It's really, really good. Now, you can infuse vitamin E into your oils by, and the cheapest way always for me was to buy vitamin E capsules that you take orally. Now they come in these little gelatine capsule things. Now if you put a pinprick in it or slice it with a scalpel, please be careful. Squeeze the vitamin E oil out, and that is a really thick viscous vitamin E. So you can put that in wheat germ oil to increase the vitamin E content. Really good for the hands, the elbows, the knees, and everywhere where you have signs of aging. And that'll help, you know, make you look younger in the places where men do look. Trust me, they look. Okay, now the other thing I'd like to mention here is if you do have dry cuticles, which is the area of skin around the base of your nail, it's not actually the piece of skin you can see, but I'm not going to go into depth and detail about what is or isn't a cuticle. Basically, that bit of skin that goes around your nail can sometimes get really dry. If you want to soften it up, vitamin E or wheat germ is the best oil for that. If you can't find any, use lip balm. Lip balm tends to be quite high in vitamin E, and it's excellent for rubbing in as a massage lotion for the base of your fingers and your cuticles. Top tip there, people. Trust me, it's really, really good for your nails. For nail growth. I mean, the rubbing is very good anyway. Right, okay. So my other computer's here. I'm actually updating my grimoire, and as you know, I type out my pages, so there's a lot of bits and pieces. Okay, get my computer down. There we go. Okay, next, apricot kernel and peach kernel. Once again, it's very light, and it's good for loosening up thicker oils and heavier oils. It's really good for sensitive skin, and so I've had to make notes. It's really high and rich in vitamins A and E, so that makes it really, really good. Now if you have acne prone skin, and this is something that a lot of people suffer from all their lives, it's not just a teenage thing, coconut oil is very, very good. Now coconut oil, especially if you suffer from acne on your back and spots on your back, use massage oil based in coconut oil, whether that be solid coconut oil or fractionated coconut oil, and use that when you massage your back, and that will be better. It's slight astringent. It has a slight astringency to it, and that will help if you have spots on your back. Okay. Arms. Coconut or almond oil? No, right. Coconut and almond oil is very good for your back, but coconut especially. If you suffer from menstrual pains in your abdomen, safflower oil, and that is, if I can find it, this one. Now, it used to be said that it could induce miscarriages, but it is very good. I mean, if you do suffer from period pains, massaging your abdomen's really, really good anyway. Any kind of menstrual problems. I wouldn't advise, because of the old wise tales about, oh, you know, it can cause miscarriages. Do not use it if you're pregnant. But if you're not pregnant and you do suffer from the pains in the abdomen, use a massage oil that is based with safflower. Now, safflower is very good, once again, to be slightly, oh, that's the dog coming in, slightly loosened up with either sweet almond oil or peach kernel or apricot kernel oil. Okay, if you are using passion flower oil, no. Passion flower oil, like coconut oil, is very slick. It doesn't soak in as well. So it's good to mix it with something that does make it soak in better, which will be, once again, sweet almond, peach kernel or apricot kernel. If you are using evening primrose oil, this, especially if you're using it as a massage oil, because you want it to be slightly more slick, evening primrose oil, if you mix it 1/5 evening primrose oil to 4/5, the rest of it made up with coconut oil, whether that be fractionated coconut oil or thicker coconut oil, but 1/5 evening primrose oil, that makes a really, really good massage oil, especially, once again, for us people who are slightly older, slightly wiser, we hope. The other thing that's good for olive oil, a really good skin scrub, and this is, use it with olive oil or wheat germ oil, especially on your hands and joints, so knees, elbows, with wheat germ oil. And you mix that wheat germ oil with sugar, just heavily granulated sugar. So demerara, not demerara, yeah, demerara sugar is really good because that's got quite a heavy grain to it. Or and mostly sugar and a tiny bit of salt, and it has to be obviously preferably a thicker grain salt, but not too heavy. You don't want really coarse grain salt because that could hurt. And so you've got your oil base, wheat germ. Grapeseed oil is very good for this as well, but on knees and elbows, wheat germ is especially good, and hands, on your hands as well. Yeah, so you have your wheat germ oil, put sugar in it, a little bit of salt, and if you can, rose water, which you can get from the chemist, or orange water if you prefer, but rose water is really good. And you just rub it in and you use it as a skin scrub. That is really, really lovely when you rinse it off, and you do have to rinse it off quite well because of the salt and the sugar. Obviously, sugar's going to make it sticky, and salt, you don't want too much salt on your skin. Rinse it really well, and then when it's all done, either finish off with a little bit of the rose water or the oil that you used, or a mixture of both. I think that's about it. Another thing that's quite good, if any of you have got young children, go to school, and head lice, what a pain in the backside head lice, well, it's a pain in the head. Head lice, you can mix with olive oil, citronella oil, put a little bit of citronella essence in it, citronella oil. Oh, that hair on my nose. Mix that in, and citronella is like an anti-bug spray. And it's supposed to, it won't cure head lice, it won't get rid of head lice, but it will deter them slightly. Just remember to rinse your hair well afterwards. Another quick tip that I learned from someone else, and I can't remember who it is now, but most people do know this tip. Benzoin oil. Anything you make that you're keeping, especially if it's you're steeping it and you're keeping it for several weeks, steeping it, just a drop or two of benzoin oil in quite a large amount of oil, tiny drop of 2, 3, 5 at the most drops of benzoin oil will stop germs from forming. So if you're going to use any of these oils and like make magical oils with them, benzoin is amazing. Now you can use benzoin essential oil, or you can use benzoin powder. I would suggest the oil because the powder can get claggy. So is there anything else? I think that's it. Oh, the scrub, by the way, with the sugar and the salt is really, really good for your feet as well. Keeps your feet lovely and soft. So that's it. That's another quick update. I am going to finish my grimoire pages that I'm typing out, and I will do a quick update of my grimoire. It won't be a very long one because it's, you know, just a couple of pages. Once again, before I sign off and say goodbye, I would like to mention once again, I have to really, I am not medically qualified in any way. I have no qualifications in aromatherapy or herbalism or essential oils. This is just what I've learnt, what I've been taught, but I've taken no accredited courses, nothing that gives you qualifications. And, you know, this is just experience, and you should always be really, really careful. Consult a doctor or a medical practitioner and do what's best for you. So if someone says to you, oh, you must use macadamia nut oil, and you're allergic to nuts, don't use macadamia nut oil. You know, you have to use strawberry essential oil, it's amazing, and you're allergic to strawberries, don't use it. You know, be pretty sensible. And, you know, teaching my grandmother to suck eggs here, I know it's something that you all know, but, you know, it just has to be said. You know, be really, really careful. And it's like I mentioned before as well, things like with essential oils, you have got to really look into what you're doing. You've got all these base oils, and that's fair enough, but when you start adding essential oils to them, you've got to be really careful. And I did say once before, something that's quite relevant for today: high blood pressure. There are lots of oils you cannot use or should not use if you have high blood pressure, the main one being black pepper essential oil. If you have high blood pressure, don't use it. You know, so look into these things. Don't rely on what everyone else says, and don't just look up what one person says. You know, really go through and look at what a few people say. So there you go. That's it for now. Just a few ideas on how to use the base and carrier oils, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, witchy people. Bye bye for now.